Okay, let's go see Joker 2. What's the worst thing that can happen?
What's so funny?
I was just thinking of a movie.
Can you tell me about it?
You wouldn't like it.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Cinematic Trinity, where we talk movies, games and TV shows. And this week we are putting on our smiling faces as we talk about Joker, Folie, Deux, the long-awaited sequel to Joker from 2019. We've got some thoughts. Everyone's got some thoughts about this movie. So we're just going to get straight into it. Guys, what do we think of Joker, Folie, Deux?
Well, I think this film's biggest sin is just not actually being that interesting in the plot. Like, when I look back on it now and I've had some time to reflect, it's been a couple of days, I'm not just in the, oh god, that was rubbish. Actually, I just think that nothing happened and it was just boring. And I think that that's the worst thing about it, that it wasn't like, oh, I was trying to do this really weird thing and, oh god, I maybe didn't like it, but, I can respect it. I don't have any respect for it, actually. No. None whatsoever. And still think the emotion that I felt when I left the cinema rings very true, which was just straight up embarrassment. I felt embarrassed watching it and embarrassed for all involved.
Damn.
Like, it really did not speak to me.
Right.
At all. I can give it a few props, I can say a few positive bits, but on the whole, I didn't enjoy it.
And we'll get into those positives, I think, because we've got to give it some credit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Kieran, what about you?
I just think that it felt to me like you have a movie where it's like passed around like a couple of directors, like they like everyone has their own creative vision they're putting on it, and they've like not edited out the old stuff, so it's like a load of different. There was just no clear vision of how they wanted this film to go.
Right.
I thought that the thing, especially for me, considering it's a musical, the sound mixing was awful.
Yeah.
Like, just having, like, the characters will be singing, there'll be kind of the backing track of a song there, and they'll have another, like, bit of music playing, like, to try and, like, say what tone this is. Like, this is, this is a sad, this is somber, this is, whatever. Every single time that happened, it just clashed completely.
Yeah.
There was nothing that actually worked together. And it was just such a disappointment, because you don't, like, you can do so much with music. Like, sound can tell a story just as much as, like, you can with visuals. And they really let it down here. And because they decided to make it a musical, that is the crux.
Key.
You need to get that music down, and it just it wasn't there for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think that the actual song choices were actually quite poor.
Yes.
I didn't actually like the songs in them. I know that there's some basics, what was it, Birds of a Feather or something like that. I can't even remember Birds and the what is it with the
Why
bird?
do birds close to you?
Like basic rubbish. Like, I genuinely would have rather it been a proper musical.
Yes.
Own lyrics, own stuff. I genuinely would have preferred that, actually. At least it tells the story better.
I think they just took, like, the easy way out. They just went, we don't want to spend time making a full, like, we don't want to, like, do all these songs. The thing is, they got Lady Gaga in, someone who is exceptionally good at singing, and they completely wasted her.
Anyway. Yeah, wasted she was. I don't think that she was very good in this film. And I do have a lot of respect for Lady Gaga, and I do think she's incredibly talented. I think she's got a great voice. And I'd love to see her show in Vegas where she does, like, the jazz versions of all her stuff. I think that would be incredible. And I think that the money that they spent on her, they could have either spent a little bit more and just said, you just make a soundtrack for this and we'll go with your vision or whatever. Because I think that would have been much better. But instead you get this like half and half
I think
thing.
Yeah, they either should have committed to her like songs being good, or like her like just get her to just act, because I thought like acting wise, like her and Joaquin Phoenix were really good. Like I thought when they did allow her some time to actually be the character.
Yeah.
But then like it really gets bogged down by a scene will happen, you know, Harley Quinn comes in, who Lady Gaga plays, and then suddenly it'll be, and then she starts singing. Like it felt like, and then she's gonna sing, and then she's gonna sing, because it's like, because we bought we've got Lady Gaga on, she has to sing. It's like, no, like she's shown that she can act.
A lot of where the songs came in also just didn't feel very natural.
No.
Like, you know, when you're watching a musical, you get that sense that a song's coming, and you do kind of in this, but you're thinking, oh God, a song's going to be coming. I don't want this. I don't want this.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there was only like a couple of times where I was like, yeah, okay, this is fine.
Works,
It works, you know, particularly the first number. But the majority of it's just like adds nothing.
Do you think they either should have committed to like either the music, like the musical elements happen in the scene rather than it be like fantastical, because it couldn't decide whether it wants to be like, here's a Broadway set, here's Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga like having fun, or here is like a real life setting like the prison or like the courthouse, and they're just singing out loud. So like it's pretty jarring like how they do it, and I just say it just comes off so unnaturally, and it doesn't like progress anything either. It's not, that's where like original music would have came in handy, because it could have been like, I'm Joker and I'm not happy, I'm gonna be going to court. Like, you know, you get what I mean.
Let's get
like,
you on it next
yeah,
time.
but like you get what I mean. It could have been something like that. But otherwise, it's like, oh, here's a bit of the plot. Here's a bit of the plot. Stop. Random song.
Let's sing a song.
But
yeah.
I was literally about to bring up the same thing, because I was going to make a comparison to La La Land. I'm not sure.
I haven't seen that.
You haven't seen it?
I didn't enjoy it, but...
Okay. But with that, you know, they incorporated, there was, at the start of the film, there was like a big kind of, you know, musical number.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
But the rest of the songs were all kind of incorporated, and it didn't feel like they were out of place. It felt very natural in the way they've done it in terms of a musical. Like, obviously, people aren't going to sing and do that in real life. In terms of a musical, and a musical that is slightly more, like, it's a downbeat one, because musicals normally quite lively.
Yeah.
That one is quite a downbeat story. They should have done something either more along the lines of that and try and make it, and you do need original songs and things like that for those kind of things, because that is your story.
Yeah.
You get a lot of the emotion and you know, everything from those scenes.
Yeah.
Or you make it a big, you know, massive thing. And this is a funny comparison, because I'm thinking of the Music Maestro episode.
Yeah.
Bold, because they are quite, you know, jolly, and they're like big set pieces and stuff. And I know it's animated and it's like a kid's
but
thing.
But like, because like the justification for it being a musical is that it's all like in Arthur's head. Like, if he needs to, like, well, apart from some songs do happen in real life, like when him and Lady Gaga are together, that's not fantastical. That is them singing in the moment.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's how he's like coping with like his psychosis and stuff, and that's why he imagines these musical numbers. But like, exactly that, like, you could have done like big musical numbers, like everyone gets involved, has like their parts, and then like makes it a bit more animated. But because it's always just Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga all the time, it just feels a bit like, like I would have loved to have seen like Brendan Gleeson's character like in Arthur's mind, like again, if they did just go all out, like he's singing, like the Arkham guards are singing, like could have been like Paddington 2-esque kind of thing, where like the whole prison's in on it. But yeah, I think just as a musical, the thing that it was like marketing itself as, the thing that was setting it apart from the first film, did not work.
It didn't work.
Because if you took it out as well, I feel like the film could have been 10 times better. Like, that's the thing. I feel like the story, you could have almost salvaged it by taking the musical stuff out.
Yeah, I agree. I think that because I'd heard such negative things about it, when I sat down to watch it, I did have quite low expectations, but I still wanted to enjoy it. I thought I'm just still going to watch it with an open mind. And the very beginning, it starts with like a short
animated. Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is, you know, kind of quirky and cool. I'm down for this. And then it sort of started off in the prison, and I was just like, actually, yeah, this is fine. And whenever he was talking, I was like, this is fine. Like, it's maybe not, you know, blowing my mind, but it's fine, it's acceptable. But then as soon as they started singing, I was just like, God, I just really don't want this.
Yeah, I only liked... I'm gonna have to like alternate between Joaquin Phoenix and Joaquin Phoenix. I think it's Joaquin.
Let's say Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, Joaquin.
Kieran, what do you say?
Because I've been corrected on TikTok about this. Everyone's been saying,
Let's
it's
say
Joaquin, not
Phoenix.
Joaquin.
I think it is Joaquin Phoenix.
I think that's what
I
people
always
say,
said it,
yeah.
and then you said Joaquin, so I just started saying Joaquin just
Yeah.
because we were talking.
Well,
I only talked to you.
until I get
you
corrected
know.
in the comments, all right.
It's
Yeah, we'll
Joaquin
go. Yeah,
Phoenix.
but when it's like his first musical number as Arthur, it's like when he's watching the news and he has like his, you know, it's after he's met Harley and he does the like, for once in my life I've met someone who needs me kind of thing. Like that, that's like probably the only musical number
Yeah.
I really liked, because that's like, you know, is he imagining it? Is it? But then it does cut to like, yeah, no, he is definitely imagining this, but it's in the context of the real world. It's not him picturing himself as Joker, like, you know, going on Broadway shows and stuff like that. I was like, that, okay.
I liked that as well.
I can get behind that. That's fine. Plus,
And again, the song fit in
It
really
did, yeah.
well with the story and what was
Yeah.
happening, because he just met Harley, and you know, he was like, oh, you know, I've got this girl now, I've got something to live for, and it was a great song to go with that. Whereas all the others just didn't fit as well.
Yeah.
But I do want to give my props to Joaquin Phoenix, because I do think that it is another top tier performance from him. I actually do think that he was very good in this film, like all the acting that he did and all this that you could, and I felt like he was really singing in character, whereas Lady Gaga was just singing the same as she does in Star Is Born, you know, quite frankly, for me. But I think Joaquin Phoenix, I could feel more his emotion.
It was Arthur Fleck singing, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It wasn't...
absolutely. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm just watching Joaquin Phoenix and all of a sudden, you know, whereas for Lady Gaga, I could see the difference a bit more. So I appreciated that. But yeah, it's...
I think the biggest,
about it.
I think the performance-wise, that was some good stuff. The soundtrack as well. They got the same person who did the first film.
For the
and like,
non-musical
yeah.
numbers.
And like, I just really love the soundtrack. It's
I
got a
don't
nice...
think that they... At the start, I think he's in the prison and he's in his cell, and they're mixing the soundtrack in with another song.
They did.
But I can't, and
They
I was
did
just
the-
like, I really don't like this mix of the two songs.
They did That's Life. They did mix that in.
I think it was
That was a bit of a weird one, but like otherwise, the actual sound, like the score of the film, was good.
Yeah.
I liked that.
I didn't.
No, not a big fan. Did you like it in the first movie, or did you?
Yeah.
Is it just?
But it was just too much clashing, too much mixing.
Right, yeah.
Like, and like they slowed things down in some places, and it didn't really work, and it just didn't. Ugh.
I think it kind of like almost because the first film, it's very much like wah, 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 like the cello was like in that film. I feel like they kind of got that and dialed it up to like 11 in some scenes, and it's like, right, here's more cello.
I don't even think that it's what the actual piece of music is. Like, a piece of music can be good on its own. You can listen to it and you can think, yeah, that's a brilliant piece of music, and you can definitely do that with this and the songs and the score from the first film. But what made the first film so great was that the music just perfectly like encapsulated. It was almost like putting a bubble around the story of what the music was, and the way that it made you feel and feel for the character and really be transported in this world through the music more than the talking and the acting and whatever. But in this, it does not have the same impact. It doesn't form that bubble over the entire story to bring it all together through this incredible score, because it's so chopped up. It's like they've said, oh yeah, we want to bring you back to do the score again, but we're only going to use a little bit of it. Like, don't put too much effort into it this time, because I've got all these rubbish songs in my car boot that I'm going to whip out for this for no reason whatsoever, you know? Like, I imagine it, I don't know what would have happened if you got the person who did the score to say, right, do the score again, but there might be some talky singing over it, you know, a little bit like spoken words, something like that. Like, that might have been cool.
There's one original song, and that's like the it's like I Am Joker, or like Joker's Me, or something like that, where he sings in the courtroom, when it's like, I think that is the only like original song they did. But that's like on the actual score soundtrack, like on Spotify, I saw that song's on there, so I was like, that must have been the only original thing, and that's, you know, just, but it was odd. Like, again, like we've spoken about it at length, but the musical stuff is really what lets this down, I feel. Like, you know, it's not that we went in there and we're like, oh, it's a musical, I hate musicals. It's like, no, I can get behind a good musical.
And I like
this
musicals.
Yeah, this just wasn't a good musical, and like it didn't serve its purpose as a musical. Like, it's just, it could have been done like 10 times better, like if you wanted to make it a musical.
I think that they actually really had a missed opportunity with this, because they had everybody captured. I think everybody would have gone to have seen this film, but something stopped them. The fact that it was a musical, but I think we were watching a video about this earlier, about the fact that it still didn't like draw people into the theatres. Like, it's done so terribly at the box office, like really, really badly, because nobody went to see it in the first place, to then spread around the fact that it's not very good.
Yeah.
Like, it almost like people weren't going to go and see it anyway, and then the reviews just made it, oh yeah, well, I'm definitely not going to go and see it, you know?
Yeah.
Which I think is really interesting. But yeah, they really, really missed a trick with this one. I think it's such a shame. And I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, it's just because you wanted to see a Joker action film. Oh, you just wanted to see him become the Joker. No, I didn't. I had no expectations of him becoming the Joker properly in the way that we know him now. Had literally nothing in my mind about that. I just wanted to sort of see the continuation of this version of the Joker and see what they did with it and where it went. And they didn't tell me what happened to him. I don't really know it. I mean, obviously, spoilers, but I still don't feel like I don't know anything more about him.
Yeah.
Or it's not built on anything. It's just kind of told me what happened in the first film again, and it's like, I'd rather just go back and watch it.
I think it borderline, like, you know, it did really well at the box office. The first Joker anyway made like $1 billion. So it does, like, kind of what Kieran was saying earlier, where it's like directors coming in and like muddying the water. This is just studio, we need another movie, make a sequel. And it's like, oh, well, we kind of left the first one open-ended though, like we didn't need to make it. It's like, no, make a sequel and get people to come make us $1 billion again. And it kind of reeks of that. It's like, this film didn't really need to exist. The story of Arthur Fleck didn't need to be divulged, because, you know, especially like the first film as well, there is a lot of what's actually real and what's in like Arthur's head, whereas this film kind of like does away with that to a degree. Obviously the whole musical stuff is like, that's, some of it's in his head there, but it does away with like, are these characters real? Is this how, like, you know, it's all just takes that away from the first film. It takes the mystery away, and like, you know, it could have just been a one and done. It's like, oh, you know what, it's like a bit of media, that was fine. I think as a sequel as well, you are limited by the fact that it is like a comic book movie as well, because it's kind of like, I think to its detriment as well, like, because it's a comic book movie, they're kind of like, oh, well, let's just put these characters in here because they're in the comics, like Harvey Dent. It's just like, if this was just the sad clown man film and not a Joker film, you know, you wouldn't be holding it to the standard of like, oh, this is a DC comic book movie kind of thing. I don't know why that kind of works against it, because to me it's kind of like, didn't need to have Harvey Dent in this movie, like, you know, kind of just being like, here he is, here's a name drop, you know, here's Arkham Asylum, here's the Joker, here's Harley Quinn. It's just like, you know, I could have just done without it. But it's just the problem with a sequel. It's kind of like, right, do what you did again, but make it different, and, you know, you're still stuck within
well, you're supposed to go bigger and better,
but this just didn't.
But this was neither of those things. It wasn't bigger and it wasn't better. So, although some people have said that they prefer this to the first one, but I think those people don't like the first one as much as we do. I don't really know how you feel about it.
Yeah, what did you think? Michael? What did you think about the first one?
I thought it was good. Like, it definitely it worked. It flowed. It wasn't the best film I've ever seen, but it's far from the worst.
Yeah,
it was very kind of middling for me. I on a scale, I would say it was good. I would definitely recommend people watch it. Yeah. But like, it's a shame because I know, like, it was kind of quite. It was influenced by King of Comedy. Yeah,
like Martin Scorsese. Yeah.
So I was saying to the earlier, I started trying to watch that last night, but I only got about 5 minutes in, and then I just had to turn off because I was doing something else. But I wanted to see how much of an influence that film actually had on the first one, because the first one was very coherent, whereas this one, now it's a new idea, not so
Yeah,
much.
I've seen that. Like some people say, the first film's like where you copy off the smart kid in school and then you pass the exam. But the second film was like, right, I can't do that. I need to do the test on my own, and it's just you fail kind of thing. Which this, not to. I don't want to say Todd Phillips is like bad. Like I mean, obviously he did the first film, which was good. I'm sure he like borrowed quite a lot from those Scorsese films, but he still pulled together a good product at the end of the day. And it's, let's say, made a bunch of money, and like critically it did quite well. But yeah, it's just he just didn't pull it through this time around.
He didn't pull it out of the bag, did he?
But yeah, I think just an unnecessary sequel we didn't really need. Again,
I don't think it was needed. I think it could have been a one done.
Yeah, I mean, I do wonder whether like with time, if I watched it again in like a few months, if I like, because I mean, especially because there is like some defense of it online, you're kind of like, did I miss something here? Like it almost feels that way with Long Legs. Like I haven't rewatched that yet, but like a few months afterwards, clips were coming up my phone and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, maybe I should give Long Legs another try. And like I do plan to rewatch it, but like Joker 2, like coming out of that theater experience compared to like Long Legs felt like it's completely different. Because Long Legs, we came out, we were a bit like,
it was a bit middling, whereas this one I feel like we're quite solidly.
Not for us.
I mean, to bring our scale up, and like spoiler warning, we discussed this beforehand, and I know we're Kieran's faults because it's quite a controversial one. Because
I think it's controversial.
I think me and Tulip,
the best film ever.
Me and Tulip have put it on boring because at the end of the day, you come out of it. There are bits to it, the performances, the score, the look of the film as well. Like, the look is good, the cinematography and like shots and stuff, good. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's the most awful thing. But Kieran, you've put it in utter rubbish.
It's because it is.
What more can you say to that?
I mean, yes, like you can have good cinematography, you can have good actors, you can have all of these things. If the film doesn't work, it doesn't work, and they really just missed every single point they were trying to hit.
Yeah.
Like, don't make it a musical if you don't want to make a musical. I didn't feel like they were passionate about making it a musical at all.
No.
You've got people like Joaquin Phoenix did the Walk the Line. He was really good in that. Lady Gaga, very successful singer.
Yeah.
I did Joaquin Phoenix did sing more, as if he was Arthur Fleck, so I can kind of get that. But Lady Gaga, I don't know. I didn't enjoy her singing voice in this because she wasn't singing in her singing voice. She was trying to act in a way, but I don't think she necessarily needed to do it as much. I don't know if she was maybe trying to copy off.
I don't know what happened, but I just don't think that she's a good enough actress to be able to pull it off in the same way that she was able to pull it off in A Star Is Born.
See, I've not seen that, so I don't have that comparison.
You've got to watch it, Kieran.
It is good.
So
it is good.
I'd happily watch it right this second, but I would also burst into tears before we even put it on, like I did last time I watched it. But yeah, she's brilliant in that, but she's playing a pop star, so of course she's going to be like belting out these show tunes, whereas in this she's a disturbed person, and I think she can maybe act that way and she can sing a different way, but she did struggle to combine the two. And I don't even think that it's like a diss for Lady Gaga. Like, I'm not not dissing her at all.
No.
It's just she's not been in the acting space as long as Joaquin Phoenix has, and you can tell there's a big like he's an Oscar-winning actor. Very, very talented actor. She's a very, very talented singer, but not as good an actress, and that really shows. And the combination of the two, I don't think it worked.
I just think it was wasted opportunity at every turn. And I can't emphasize this enough. The sound, the mixing, it just irked me so much.
It is a pet peeve when like it goes from like natural dialogue to like studio recording like sound as well. Like when you can tell they're in like you're in a booth right now. You're not like on. So it's not like Les Mis, like you're on set singing it for real. It's very much like let's just turn the dial.
I think they did with some of the more like talky songs.
Probably.
Like when he's on the phone at the end. Like I imagine that they did do some. But yeah, that for a lot of them, you're just like, I can just...
I know.
There's that instant switch of when it goes into the pre-recorded, and it's just like this... No, I don't like it. Yeah.
Spoilers ahead.
Yeah, so I only think that we need to talk about the fact that he's dead.
Woohoo!
That's the only spoiler that is really like a major spoiler in this, quite frankly, because I feel like everything else is just boring that happens. This is the only thing that happens.
There's a few bits and bobs, I
it's
think.
the only thing I'm willing to talk about,
Well,
Michael.
you can go. Right, take the lead, Tula.
I didn't like it. I don't like the fact that they killed him off. And I think it's because I was so disappointed by the film as a whole. I was like, well, now we've just killed it. Like, thank you for nothing. Like, you've ruined the film. You've killed him off. I now feel no emotional connection to this character whatsoever. If I know that the character that, not that I knew and loved, because, you know, he's not like a lovable character, but the character in the first film that I feel like I really got and understood, the fact that he's now dead, it's just like, I think to me it sours it. For me personally,
I think because like the thing of the film is basically Arthur's on trial. He's going to get the death penalty if he loses the court case, kind of thing. So there's high stakes if he loses, but then also as an audience he's going to lose because he did kill these people. There's all the things of like, was it a split personality? Was it something like that? Again, as the audience, that's not the case. The film wastes so much time being like, but maybe it was though. Maybe this Joker character is a figment of his imagination. It's like no, he did this. He's just a very sick man. He did this. So I almost feel like instead of him getting killed at the end by a random inmate in Arkham, who is this inmate the Joker now? Blah, blah, blah. I think you could have almost done it of him just getting the electric chair, and I feel like that would have been not satisfying.
At least it would have been like honourable.
It would have been like the Green Mile, like it could have been like one final song, and like they incorporate that into him getting electrocuted. Like if they had belter after belter songs in this film, you could have really made like a good climax of him getting electrocuted and like going out that way. But because it's so anticlimactic kind of thing, but I think by that point you don't feel an awful lot because like again you've almost had your time wasted by the whole trial, and it's just like, look, we know how this is going to end. Harley and him end up splitting up because she was only into the Joker persona, so they break up and she's not into him anymore. So by that point he doesn't have anybody, and it's just not a good time. But him getting killed by this inmate, and I didn't feel anything when it happened. I was kind of like, I guess this is where we're going.
Just like, great.
Yeah. What did you think?
I literally no way at all.
Yeah.
I was trying to decide when I thought we were in the final act, so I knew how much longer I had to stay awake for. I know
I was clock watching like anything during that.
I wasn't clock watching, but I was a bit like, oh my god, jeez. Yeah. It is dragging because I'm bored.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if a film is making me bored when I'm in the cinema, when I'm most immersed, you've done something wrong.
And that's why I say it's its biggest sin. The worst thing that it can do is make you feel nothing. If we were sitting here going, well, I think it's absolutely ridiculous because at least we're talking about it, it's causing discourse. But for this, we're just like, literally don't care.
Well, we went on a rant about the music for like half an hour.
Very well.
But
I think that when the bomb goes off, so basically he gets found guilty, he's a little bit upset, bomb goes off,
a little bit upset,
and he almost he escapes, people find him, blah 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 blah. I think that should have been the start of the film. I don't know where Harley Quinn would have come into it, but I think that should have been at the very beginning. That's what happens, that's what kicks off the story. He's just been found guilty, but now he's on the run. A lot of people have said, oh yeah, but he's not actually the Joker. Well, maybe it should have been this man, Arthur, who's been put on this pedestal, struggling to come to terms with the fact that he's now got all this fame and notoriety, but he can't maintain it. He can't go around killing people all the time because he knows it's wrong, because he knows it's only Arthur, and it's him almost on the down. Maybe Harley Quinn comes in and she's trying to like get him up the pecking order. But there's also another man on the scene who is becoming the Joker and is taking over and is saying, you're not the Joker, and it just slowly declines and he just gets worse and worse and less like the Joker and more like Arthur again. So in the first film he's coming up like this to be the Joker, and then he goes down to be Arthur, and then maybe he dies at the end, maybe they catch him, or somebody else kills him and says, right, I'm the Joker. I think that would have been a much better film done right.
I feel like what they could have done, and Michael will understand me here, I don't think you will because I don't think you've seen it.
Okay.
But there's an episode of the original animated Batman.
Oh, I don't know, me and Tu did some homework.
I
we
may
watched
have
a few.
seen it.
There's the one where they got just Crook thinks that he's killed Batman.
Oh no, we didn't watch
I've
that
not
one. But
watched
yes,
that
yes, 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 yes.
See, I feel like that one because he does that. He gets a lot of notoriety and like he gets himself in a really difficult position. And then obviously Batman comes back and then resolves it.
Yeah.
But what they could have done is had Arthur, like if they did go for that courtroom scene, maybe that's like a 10-15 minutes opening scene where he's in prison, he goes to court, then this bomb goes off, and then it's like this thing of his like rise to infamy.
Yeah.
And maybe at that point when he's at the height of his power, the Joker persona is more of an idea rather than a person, and then that kind of like spreads at that point, and then you have the Arthur Fleck, you know, kind of realizing like the downfall and things like that, and you could see like a different story that way.
It sounds like a great film.
I thought, because like Telltale Batman did this a little bit, like where Joker is in like the first season, then it's like the second season, he's in like a criminal gang where like Harley's the leader and he's like an underling, and then it's kind of like by the end of that he becomes the Joker. It could have been like that, like as you say, like the explosion happens, like Harley almost like abducts him kind of thing, and then they have like this romance, and
because she is like obsessed with him.
Yeah,
so
maybe
that could be the way to kind of tie her into things.
Like he gets into this gang, like rises up through the ranks, and it could be he knows he's like out of his depth, like they pull some capers or something, and he's like, oh no, I can't be the Joker anymore.
She's trying to like make him believe. She's like, you're the Joker, you go for it, you're the Joker, and then he realizes like, no, I'm really,
because like there's nothing, because I mean this movie goes into it, there's nothing wrong with like a Harley Joker relationship where maybe Harley is the dominant one, because like in this it's pretty much just, you know, she is a psychiatrist, so she knows what to do to like manipulate him. Like she will lie to him about her past and, you know, get him to sort of feel sorry for her. She'll say that she's having a baby, that's not actually happening, but it's all because she's obsessed with him, but not Arthur. She's obsessed with this Joker persona. So by the end of the film, when Arthur's like renounced it, she's like, I don't want anything to do with you now. But there's nothing wrong with like that relationship if they just delved into it like a tiny bit more and maybe had them like together more in the movie, like on the run or being criminals. It would have been good, because like that relationship is really cool. Like we watched the animated series episodes where it's like when it's like Harley Quinn's origin story, which, you know, I think is a really good episode of TV. It's, you know, a good origin story, but I know you wouldn't be able to pull that off with Arthur, because Arthur's not manipulative. He is he's not simple, but like, you know, he doesn't have that like a malicious bone in his body. He's very much like,
he's also not very charming either.
No, like he's very awkward and stuff like that. So it is kind of up to this movie's Harley to be like, right, I love you, we're gonna get together now. So there's nothing wrong with that, but they could have just done that, like, and still had the same thing of like, oh, this Joker guy is not actually like a good, you know, he's not a good person. Like we all know this, like all the people defending it being like, yeah, but you shouldn't have been idolising the Joker in the first film, so this film's like a massive middle finger to you to be like, you know, shouldn't idolise the Joker. It's like, yeah, but we know that.
I never did.
No, I'm not going to be like, I'm going to go on a talk show and do this to someone. You know, I wasn't thinking that. You feel sorry for Arthur in the first movie, and you just feel more sorry for him now.
I thought that was the whole point. The fact that somebody can be, you know, not very nice and go off the rails and really struggle, but you can still feel empathy for them. Like, you're allowed to feel empathy for a really horrible or messed up person. Like, that's good. I think it's good to feel like that.
And it is like, it does lean into like the corruption of like Gotham as like a city as well. Because like the first film, it's like, oh, here's this mentally ill man, let's take away all his like funding to like get him better. Here's society pushing him down, blah blah blah. And this film's kind of more like that. It's like the media's there to be like, oh, this Joker guy, he's like evil, we should put him to death. And like, you know, the court, it's more of a formality because you know he's going to get convicted in it. There's no real point in him even being there. So it is like, you know, the system is letting this mentally ill man down. How many more people are going to like follow him and become more, you know, how many more Jokers are there going to be because of how bad Gotham is, kind of thing. But it's just, I don't know. The
Nothing
plot
was done well enough for it to have a particular impact.
I
And
liked-
therefore, it just fell flat.
I mean, there was a good scene where I forget his name, Gary the dwarf comes into it. Like that was a good scene in the courtroom, because that's like in the first film, Arthur lets him live, but this is like the psychological side of things. Because I think that acting as well, good moment, because that's where he's just like, Arthur, like, you may have let me live, but you've messed me up mentally. I can't do anything. I'm like scared all the time now. Like that was really good, and that's when you start to see Arthur doubt the whole Joker stuff. But again, it could have just been a lot better, like a lot better executed.
I'll tell you what, there is one thing of like positive that I can give to it, and that is there is one scene. Actually, there's two scenes that made me laugh. The second one I can't for the life of me remember, and it's really annoying because I found it really funny. But the first one is where Arthur says that he wants to represent himself, and it just cuts to like, because it's obviously televised, and it just cuts to like a really like old timey like camera image of Harvey Dent, and he just goes.
I think that the second one, or something that we laughed at, was when somebody takes the stand and there's this like TV movie that's been made about him, the Joker and his story, and they were like, oh yeah, that awful TV movie, and Harley had been telling the Joker this whole time that she really liked it, so he turns around to her and he goes, what was it really awful? And she goes, no, it was good, and he goes, oh, okay then. That was something that we laughed at.
I think similar to Kieran's, I just had it where like Joker represents himself for the first time, and it's him wearing the makeup, so it kind of just cuts to him like looking really stoic at his desk, and it's just this guy in like full clown makeup playing lawyer, and it's just like, this is ridiculous. That judge would have shut everything down like every point, because like especially like when he interviews the dwarf guy, it's just like, this should not be going on this long. He's not even making any sense. Again, it's more like, why is the system letting this mentally ill man represent himself in court? He doesn't know what he's doing. He's not a lawyer. Bloody Gotham. What's going on? But
it's America, so you have the right to represent yourself. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Do you have that in the UK? I've just watched a program about it, and they did use the right to represent themselves.
Maybe, but probably get off better than Arthur Fleck would, though.
Yeah.
Not, you know. But
I'm going to commit a crime and represent myself to see what the process is. Yeah. Just see what it's like.
Maybe you have taken something from Arthur Fleck. The message is Tulip is now living a life of crime.
Tulip, why did you commit this crime? I just wanted to be here. Just
wanted to know the other side.
I just wanted to see if I could win in a courtroom. But yeah, that, I think, overall, what even was this movie? We've just written a better Joker 2 than Joker 2 did it to itself.
What a shame.
Maybe there could be an online petition to remake Joker 2. Warner Bros.
We need Snyder's cut of Joker 2.
Warner Bros. Give us $200 million.
Yeah,
and we'll make the film.
Please do. We'll do it.
$200 million though for this.
What would we do? I don't even know.
With $200 million, I don't know.
Yeah, what are you doing?
I was going to see what the budget for the first movie was, because like $200 million for this film is just a bit. $50 to $70 million.
I'm sorry, they did not. What did they spend $200 million on?
Lady Gaga.
Yeah, I was going to say Lady Gaga.
What, like
Google what was Lady
amount
Gaga's
that they would
fee
spend.
for?
I mean, let's see. We've got Joaquin Phoenix, Lady Gaga,
Brendan
Gleeson
for Joker 2.
I don't know if there are any other like big names in there.
12 million.
No, there's no way.
I mean, 12 million still a good chunk of money, like, you know.
And Joaquin Phoenix took 20
million. Yeah.
I mean, fair play. I'm happy for him to take the 20 mil.
I'm good on you, Yoki. Good.
Get your bag, Joaquin. Get your bag.
Do you think, because I've seen people say, oh, maybe he should get another Oscar nomination for this? No.
The film's not good enough for him. Even though I think his performance was great, the film in itself.
If this gets nominated for any Oscar, especially anything related to music, I am going to do what Lady Gaga did before she hung up the phone.
Just,
What? Oh, right.
Oh dear.
That would be an insult to literally every single film that's ever been made.
You'll know it would be in a pretty dry Oscar season if there's not many. Oh, music. Joker 2. That was a musical.
Stay tuned, because in all likelihood we'll do our Oscar reviews.
I've already said next year we're not going to do, because to be honest with you guys, to be honest with you, dear viewer, we don't watch all the Oscar movies.
No. Can I just say that the Oscars is stupid, because
no.
It'll be like, the Oscars is on whatever, I don't even know when it comes out, and half the films haven't been released in the UK yet, or they've been at like Cannes Film Festival. And it's like, I'm sorry, as the average Joe, I've not been to the Cannes Film Festival, thank you very much. So why don't you just do it?
Live to you from Cannes Film Festival.
Cinematic Trinity first road trip.
At Cannes.
It'd be a good place to go, but yeah, we'll still talk about it.
Yeah, we might just do our own little spin on the awards and just take the categories and maybe do it to films we've actually seen, rather than be like, oh yes, this Oscar nominee film that's probably going to win that we haven't actually seen. Oh yes, that will win. You know.
Yeah.
But that's your worry for next year, dear viewer. Don't worry. In the meantime, though, you've heard us rant for God knows how long about Joker 2, which I'm very sorry. Tulip's dad, we couldn't keep it to a brisk 20 minutes.
15 minutes.
Yeah. But when there's so much negativity about a film to just spout off, and when a film is messed up this badly, what can you do but just, I wait until it comes on streaming. Like, don't pay money to go see this in the cinema, which I hate to say because I really like the first one, but this one just does not do it justice. It does not do it well. I think our negativity ends now.
I think that you should stop talking.
I hate this movie! Sorry, that really spiked on the audio there. Apologies.
Right. Anyway,
in the meantime,
thank you very much for watching. We've been the Cinematic Trinity.